Hey, this is Eric here at Peachtree Classic Cars, and I got a really cool truck. It's a 1946 Ford half-ton short bed truck, and I was just thinking earlier, I just love these things because it's really the pre-war body, and they just started building them right back up after World War II, 46 and 47. So get a lot of phone calls for a truck like this. It's got a few little extra things, you know, somebody's done some modifications over the years, but the speedometer does work. Somebody put a little plate in here and put a CD player. It also does work. If it was me, I'd inset that a couple of inches and put the glove box cover back on it, and that would actually do a pretty good job of making the dash look original. It's got a little steering wheel, and in tight spots with the big wheels on the front, it's a little tough to steer in tight spots. Once you get rolling, you know, it steers great. So I'm going to show you how it runs and drives. It's got an upgraded drivetrain with a 302 V8 and an automatic transmission. And we're still warming her up, so there we go. That's old trucks. The indicator that's been put on this is also accurate, which is nice. Goes right into drive. Through the gears smoothly, and you can really drive this thing with one finger almost. You can see me driving it nice and easy, nice and straight. Slow it down for the neighbors here. It steers right down the road real easy and straight. There's no wander on the steering wheel. And I don't know if I just said it or not. If it was me, I'd put the original steering wheel back on. Put the glove box cover back on, and the interior would feel kind of a little more finished off. These trucks have some of my favorite body lines, just the it's an iconic antique vehicle. Great sounding engine. It's got a brand new exhaust. Just put that on about 2 weeks ago. I just love 46s. They are just so cool. Just the big swooping fenders. Pop the hood here. It's got an emergency secondary on it. It's got to be pushed in, but it opens easily even with one hand. It's a little bright out here and it's hard to see. It's got a beautiful engine detail. Let's try to get that. Just a really good running engine. I'm gonna turn the key off so we can hear a little better. Beautiful engine detail under here, brand new valve covers and air cleaner, just really nice, clean power booster for the original brakes, and the original frame is under here, which is nice. Firewalls, pretty much rust free, and our fender wells. It's still got the original radiator, and it runs right at 190. So just a really, really nice, clean engine detail there. Body lines on the truck are straight. And this is what, you know, what we all kind of say is a nice 20-footer. And I've actually got a matching little Coca-Cola trailer that goes with the truck. And that's super fun. Take to the, to the car shows and everything. So one of the things I like about this truck, the body is very straight on it. If you look at the sides of the beds and these big swooping fenders, the teardrop rear fenders, I love. Just look at the sides of the bed too, just nice and straight. A couple of little normal dings and dents inside, but it's got brand new bed liner on the inside, just a steel bed. This antique Coca-Cola cooler is actually housing the battery now. So that's kind of cool way. I almost thought about sanding that down and refinishing it, making it look new, because the paint on the door is brand new, and the pinstriping. This does come off fairly easily. A little bit of wet sanding, or there's a couple different ways you can do it, but if you don't like the Coca-Cola on the side, or you don't like the pinstriping, it actually comes off pretty easily if you want it to, if you're being intentional to take it off. So fiberglass step sides, so they'll never rust. And there's a few little runs in the paint here and there. Really, if you were gonna restore this truck, it probably deserves a brand new paint job at some point. But I don't think it needs it. I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a driver, I would just drive this truck just like it is. I wouldn't do anything to it besides what we talked about on the inside with the steering wheel and stuff. So. Couple of little spots here at the bottom of the door. There's a little spot there, one little spot here, little crack there. You know, like I said, much older paint, and a crack at the bottom of the tailgate right there. And of course you could go around and do a touch-up job on this and just, you know, try to bring it back up. It's a crack right here on the side of the bed, and a little bit of rust bubbles there at the bottom. And this door is just not closed all the way. That. So yeah, other than that, little spot right here at the front of the door. So original bench seat's been recovered. Still got these little you know, the, what do you call them, hinges back here. Actually, this one's missing the little hinge pin. I was trying to pull that over. I meant to do that. If you drive it without a passenger, you can hear that, but it just needs a pin to go back in it. But it's nicely covered. It's obviously was done a long time ago. And like I said earlier, you know, you got your dash with some of this, you know, later model stuff. Somebody restored this truck and made it like this years and years ago, you know. So it does have a working radio, which is nice to be able to cruise around with the tunes. And if you wanted to finish off, you know, this, if I was going to do anything to the truck, I would spend some time on the interior and just, like I said, I'd put an original steering wheel back on it. I'd cover this back up. I might even go after just putting a whole new original style gauge cluster back in the gauge cluster. Other than that, you maybe put a brand new carpet kit in if you want. It's got the wood panel on the doors. Windows roll up and down easily. They could use some new felts if you wanted them to be perfect. The felts are old. Glass is in good shape. And the weather stripping on the front seems to be newer. It's definitely not original. One little chip right there. It looks like a little rock chip. Window on this side rolls up and down pretty easily. Take a look up underneath the truck real quick. Like I said, fiberglass step sides. So these are obviously rust free. They look good. And if you get all the way up underneath here, there's your floor pan there. A couple of little tiny rust spots, but nothing major. The frame rails are all solid and rust free, which is really nice. All the way down. And this is an uncut frame. It's still on the original suspension in the front. So you got the upgrade of the automatic, you know, the V8 automatic. But it still does drive a little more like an older truck. And like I said, you know, a little bit bigger steering wheel on this thing would cure the problem. Of course, you could always do power steering, just call it a day. But I don't even necessarily think it needs it. I wouldn't call it a necessity. Inside the fender wells, these tires are like new. I believe they're actually, it feels like they're brand new. Nice little trailer hitch back here. I wouldn't try to carry any super heavy trailers, but we put it on so we could put the Coca-Cola trailer behind it. Inner fender wells. It's funny, I don't get these very often. I buy about 45 classic trucks a year, and I've only had, in the past 10 years, I've probably only had 2 or 3 56s. They're really hard to find in any condition worth having, and that's why I really like this one a lot, because this one, it's ready to drive today, you know. So get up underneath the side. side too, so you can see the passenger side real quick. I'll tell you one thing, with this quarantine happening, with people doing voluntary quarantines and things like that, the phone here at our office has been pretty busy. Lots of people getting antique cars and trucks, and I've got quite a few phone calls, people saying, how's business? And I said, it's busier than normal. I think just with people being at home, this is a great time. One of the things that I really, really enjoy about my job is, you know, a truck like this is like a great, well, around my house, we say father-daughter project. You know, father-son project. I've got 2 girls, I don't have any boys, but you know, you buy a truck like this and you just tinker on it. You know, I mean, you're stuck at home, the kids are being homeschooled now, most of the public schools are closed. This is a perfect time, you know, or have the grandkids over, you know, and just, you know, still get to drive around. For us, we live on a little bit of land, you know, drive around the farm. It gives us something fun to do, to have an old truck like this, and even just to pull the trailer behind it and be seen and wave at people, just giving us all a sense of normalcy. We know we're going to be back to normal here in just a couple months, but this is just a really fun way, and I think a fun time to remember the old days, and to you know, to have a truck like this is just awesome. I wish I could keep them all, but I can't. But I just absolutely love the swooping fenders and just the big, you know, busty body that they put on this, that the styles back in the 40s and 50s that these guys were doing at Ford and Chevrolet especially. They just made a beautiful vehicle. So give us a call, Peachtree Classic Cars.